You're listening to the Yes, I'm Still Sober podcast with John Rabin. And here we are once again with the Yes, I'm Still Sober podcast. I'm John Rabin, episode 60, you guys. It's hot. It's damn hot. It's very, very, very hot. Although today it is, it's only 98 degrees right now outside when I'm recording this. Only going to be a high of about 100. So we dropped like 6 degrees from yesterday, which was ungodly scorching. And my girlfriend, who's Latina, by the way, said, what are these white people doing outside? Because she had to go out, and she's just like, people are outside just walking around. Really, really white people are outside. And you know what? I don't know. I don't know what you're doing. What are you doing out there? Run and hide like at 3 p.m. What are you doing? I get that you want to, be active, but holy shit, you guys, 106? There's no reason to go. You are just drink water and stay inside. It's, we've got plenty of the rest of the year to be active and find things to do. But man, just time to be an indoor kid. There's a lot of things that I just kind of have gone nope to, and because there's some, I've been writing a little bit, and I'm like, maybe I should go to an open mic and try out some new jokes here. And I just like, man, fuck you. It's hot. I'm going to see if the cat likes it. You think I'm funny, right, kitty? Speaking of which, let me give you a status of how the kitty is doing. My roommate, has moved most of her stuff out. She's got to come back and get some other stuff, but not to share your business, roomie. But that's the deal, is from the perspective of my cat, cats aren't really, she's, it's like, is my cat sad that my roommate is moving out? And I wouldn't really describe it as sadness. More outrage that my roommate took her bed. In the cat's eyes, the cat's bed. But it's really my roommate's bed. But, as you're probably aware, cats look at everything as, well, that's mine, but I'll let you use it until I need it, or until I need to sit on it, for whatever reason. And that's basically, my cat is in a state of outrage based on the fact that I let my roommate take her bed out of her room. How dare I not be out there right now solving this crime and bringing a bed back for her to lay in, even though she's laying on my bed, but her second bed is gone. And that's a bunch of bullshit, she thinks. At least that's the vibe I'm getting as she stares at me. Like more than normal. She's staring at me more than she normally does. Like, fuck's going on, man? You just letting this happen? You just let things happen to me because you won't do your job of keeping my property protected? So that's how she's doing. And of course, I've done this thing where, I'm kind of looking, as I said, practically the whole episode last week, I am looking for a new roommate. And, but I'm like hesitating on like putting an ad like to the public. It's just like, So I'm doing those other things where like, well, maybe I can get a second job so that I'm not, because I can, afford to live alone in this apartment, but it's, like being poor So you start doing those things. You start looking online. I don't know if you've done that where you're like, there's got to be a job that requires no effort that they just give you money where I don't have to leave my apartment. So you start looking around like, oh, well, that doesn't seem to exist. All these jobs want qualifications. Qualifications? I could do it. No, I don't have any experience doing that, but I could totally do that shit. Give me money. And of course it doesn't work that way, which is too bad. So then I started thinking, well, maybe instead of a roommate, I can find somebody who just wants to store their shit here and pay me. That's ideal. Hey, don't rent a storage unit. Use my apartment. Why would you want a conveniently located facility with that you've got a key to that you can access at all times of the day or night when you could lug all your shit up 3 flights of stairs to my apartment where I would store it and only allow you access when you contact me ahead of time. I mean, it's just so easy. Why wouldn't you do that? At my convenience, where you pay me money. I'm not saying I'm being logical or rational here, because I'm not. But it's one of those things you're like, where can I get about $2,000? Like, it's, that's legal. No, hang on, everybody. That's legal. What can I do that people can just give me money? Which is, I think, the American dream. So, I know I don't really normally get into current events that are not drug related or addiction related stuff. By the way, that reminds me, hope you guys are staying sober people. If you're not being sober, I hope you're staying sane, even though it's 100 plus degrees every day this week outside, at least in Austin, Texas. But it's hot everywhere. So drink lots of water and be careful out there. But this thing, I wanted to bring something up because, I know it's what everybody was talking about, and like little things are coming out about the Jeffrey Epstein suicide, or as some people are saying, suicide with quotation marks. Because lots of, obviously it's just, if it is an actual conspiracy, if there's actually something going on like that people think, it's quite hacky. It's a poorly written conspiracy. Just, we've seen that over and over again. But here's my perspective, just something that it reminded me of. So when I was in here in Travis County Jail. So what happens in Travis County, because I was there a month before I got transferred to a treatment program that's still like jail light. Your guards don't have guns, and if they're trusting you to stay, and if you leave, that's an automatic felony. So most people just write it out for the treatment. But for the first month that I was in jail, there's you either if you're a normal county inmate, you usually get transferred out to this facility out in Del Valley, which is out on the outskirts of in a not so nice part of East Austin, near the airport. But if you're a trustee, so like nonviolent offenders and certain people, if you're a trustee, you get your own cell, but you have to work basically for that cell so that you're not being sent out to, gin pop, if you will. And I was a trustee for that month. And I got lucky because I got assigned the paint crew, which you're like, scraping paint isn't great, but it's something to do. And there were other jobs that were not as ideal as scraping paint and then painting those things that you just scraped. And and one of the jobs was called fire watch. And this is what it was. What they did is different inmates, you sat in a chair in front of this cell door with a small window in it, and every 10 minutes you were supposed to look through that window to make sure that the inmate that's in that cell, who is on basically suicide watch or just observation, and that could be either because they were emotionally unstable or because they were suicidal. You had to check on them every 10 minutes to make sure they weren't trying to kill themselves. They weren't like throwing their shit everywhere, or whatever else could, unrest. So you were checking on them every 10 minutes. And because this was quote unquote important, you couldn't bring a book or anything to distract yourself. So you basically sat there for like a 2-hour shift, just sitting there, occasionally looking through a window and checking another person out. And then they would rotate inmates, would do this, over the 24-hour period or whatever. It was mainly during the evenings. Like, I think during the day, the Travis County employees, the sheriffs or whatever, the guards would be able to do that, but at night they had the inmates do it, which is because it's a shit detail. So even Travis County employees wouldn't do that. They would have they would basically have us doing that, and it was a fucking terrible job. So I was really, really happy that I was not one of those people that had to do that kind of bullshit. But that's the thing that really gets me, is that at least in Travis County, it was it was organized, kind of, but because of how, and I heard all the details about how bad it was and then the different stuff you had to do, and so the idea that Epstein could have an opportunity to kill himself 2 weeks after a probable attempt beforehand, and it's like, why wasn't he on suicide watch? Because they don't keep people on suicide watch for 2 weeks. They keep them on suicide watch for probably a maximum of 72 hours. Like standard is what they do. So it's very probable. Like, I'm not saying that there wasn't a conspiracy. I'm not going, there's no way, but there's a very good possibility that the actual conspiracy here is the conspiracy to cover up ineptitude. That people, that because they were understaffed and overworked. I mean, think about everybody that you know or witness how good they are at their job. Think about how shitty people are in general that you interact with. Maybe you don't know them, but that you see people do the bare minimum or way below the bare minimum of their job. So yeah, it's really possible. It's very possible that people were not doing their job, especially in a prison system. Just poorly run. And yeah, so it's very possible. I just mention it because it's the one thing that I know something about, like firsthand experience. If I can't comment on something related to being locked up, like what was the point of being locked up if I can't actually share? And he goes, well, here's something that I know that I experienced when I had to do my time. So I wanted to just keep that in mind, that a lot of stuff that people, just because in conspiracies in general, it just, people give other people too much credit. Because conspiracies are fun to like try to figure out, and maybe this, like these well orchestrated plans, by sinister government officials and, who don't make mistakes and somehow can keep a secret when in this age of social media and the fact that I don't know anybody that can keep a secret. I don't. It's like somebody's got to tell somebody. It's just the way it is. People cannot keep their goddamn mouths shut. We just can't. We got to tell somebody. So it's way more believable to me that somebody fucked up and just didn't do their job, because that's just human nature now, is not doing your job. So just keep that in mind. Now, just wanted to share that. So, okay, so the one thing that I was thinking about today that I don't know where this is going to go. I'm just wanted to mention that, just basically this. Unsolicited advice is worthless. That's the one thing I wanted to say today. Because it just kind of, I don't think that there's nothing of value of advice given to somebody who didn't ask you, because they're not going to be in a frame of mind to accept what you have to say, even if it's good, to accept what you have to say. Because most of the time, when people are confiding in you, they really, without asking, what do you think I should do? And they're just talking, and then all of a sudden you know, well, this is what you should do. I think even then people are like, okay, really? I just wanted you to listen to me? So, we're just so conditioned now with social media to give our input and, our opinion and advice. Unsolicited opinions are even worse. And I think, it's because we're so addicted to the attention and to the look at me factor for likes and everything that, we're so used to just every time there's a pause that, let me just say anything that's in my head right now because you paused. So now it's my turn to just unload every thought that I have, no matter how dumb it is, into your ears. And it's just, it's one thing, because I'm not saying that, I'm not saying that I have good advice that you should listen to me. Don't! But you're listening to me and listening to so by listening to this podcast, for example, it's not unsolicited. You're going, let's see what this fucker has to say today. And so that makes sense. So you're receptive to hear some dumb crap that I say, and at that point you can then go, yeah, I don't think John's right on this again. I get that. But I think that anything unsolicited is just, it's just a waste of your energy, because you're certainly wasting other people's time. And it's just allowing them to form even more opinions about you. And not good opinions either. They're automatically it's shaping what they think of you, and so it's almost like you're better. You're definitely better off saying less, I think. It's just there's no you should. I'm trying, and it's hard, boy. It's really hard to try to say less shit. To try to, if you see somebody doing something, you're like, you know what? They should probably screw that up. Because that will they'll learn more by screwing up. Or, if they ask you, than to just, go, listen, here's the deal. To a point, it's another matter if you're at work and you got to tell somebody to do something because they're about to screw something up that's going to affect everybody. I will give unsolicited opinions and advice at work if it's going to cause me more work. I will correct a motherfucker. I will go, hey, don't do that, because then you're going to burn that pot, and then I got to scrape it. Turn the heat down. No, turn it down. I know you need it faster. Do not turn the heat. Anyway, that's another thing altogether. But it's just, I think that's why Facebook, it's why Facebook sucks so much. It's because of, it's because of the stupid news feed. Because you're not going to somebody's page. You go, I wonder what Daryl has to say about the economy. Like, nobody's going there. Nobody's going, let's see what Linda thinks about our immigration policy. Tell me, Linda, what's your take? It's just so instead you scroll through hoping for a joke, like hoping for something like, oh, this is a good picture of my friend and their children, or somebody says something clever, but that's when it hits, because it's so when you see an outrage post or something, is a let me tell you something kind of post, because you were just scrolling through, and that's all that Twitter is, of course, is just hot take city. Just unsolicited opinion after advice. Just everything is just so yeah. It's gonna and then people comment with more unsolicited bullshit. More stuff that nobody asked for or needed. Oh, look, it's the hero that nobody wanted. It's just every day, and it just makes sense. I mean, it makes sense why that sucks so bad. Is because we're just dumping out this, I think I know what's up, and nobody wanted it. I mean, I think I've said that before, that I love my mother, but but if she gave me unsolicited advice, I'd go, okay, thanks, and not, and that's somebody that I love. I certainly don't like unsolicited advice from people that I hate. Well, not hate, but disregard as people. No, that's a little harsh. Disregard is, don't give a shit about. How about that? Yeah, let me just back off of, I don't hate anybody as much as I disregard them as affecting my life. Not saying that you should, but I do. So I don't know. So I guess the answer is just listening more then. Maybe just wait, just live by example, and then wait, wait for somebody to ask. I mean, you can do what you want, but just understand that if you're giving out your point of view and advice, and maybe you do know, even if it's like, look, I've been there before, I've done this, they could really benefit from my expertise in this one particular instance. I've made a birdhouse. Let me give you some birdhouse advice. If they didn't want it, you're wasting your time. Don't waste your time and energy. You don't want to see them dismiss you, like, to your face, like, but nice. Oh, thanks. But you can see that they don't give a shit. They were not listening. They immediately cut you off. You don't need that kind of headache, and it's not healthy. Try listening more than speaking. And I know that sucks. I know. It's hard. I have an issue with it too, because trying to listen to people who really don't know what they're doing it's frustrating. You want to go, but that's the thing, is self-improvement is not easy. I just think it's good. It would behoove us to listen, talk. Probably the hardest thing I personally would be able to do. Listen more than I speak. And everybody that knows me knows that'd be a lot for me to do. So, but I'm working on it. So, keep your advice to yourself unless you're asked. Now, going against what I just said, I do want to give some advice. Suggestion, maybe? I don't know. What sucks about this is I want to end this show today with just a thing for like there's like two people that I have in mind, and I don't think either one of them listens to this podcast, and that's fine. But there may be somebody listening that fits this description, and both these people, I can see them, like, because they're one of the things about social media is if people use it a lot, whenever they're struggling with things, they vocalize it on social media, and you see when they're struggling with something. And I've witnessed, and it's two different people doing almost the exact same thing, and I've witnessed them trying to do more and more for other people. And this is not bad, but I can see them being dissatisfied with the amount that they're able to do for other people. And it's like, I wish I could do this. I wish I could do that. And it's weird to tell people to kind of chill the fuck out. But I think that there's a point where if you aren't taking care of yourself because you're too busy thinking about how fucked up the world is and how much there's so many people out there suffering that you wish you could do more, but you're not taking care of yourself. It's so unhealthy, man. So I don't know. I don't know if therapy is going to help. Maybe try therapy, but that's definitely not my wheelhouse. I can't tell you anything about therapy. All I can say is you got to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. That you can't solve everybody's problems. That you can't. It's little things. We can all. It's going to take all of us to kind of doing little things to make the world a better place. And I know it looks bad because you're reading everything, and of course the news is only going to report the shit and not the good things. But you got to take care of yourself first. You got to find that balance where you're still doing stuff for others, but you're also watching out for yourself. Finding that balance. Don't just focus on you. Don't be a selfish asshole like there's so many out there. I've been a selfish asshole a lot of my life, but you got to take care of yourself. You can't, otherwise that's what's going to happen. It's never going to be enough, just doing things. If you're always looking, at things that are fucked up, you're never going to get to a point where it's like, there, it's fixed, done. Now I can rest. But you got to watch out for yourself. You got to be in a place. I mean, if anything, you got to take care of yourself so that you can continue to help people. Because if you just run yourself into the ground, then you're not going to be able to do anything. And so now you're doing nothing and you're unhappy. So just remember to watch out for yourself as well. And drink water because it's fucking hot out there. Thank you, guys. We will see you next week. This has been Yes, I'm Still Sober. I am still sober. I'm John Rabin. Later.
Right.